Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk podcast here every Tuesday and actually this week, Thursday and also Saturday. Because there's a Crown Jewel PLE in Australia, and they have upside down time. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen DAD. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. That could be here on YouTube. It could be over there on Apple Podcasts. It could be on Spotify or exciting news. New deal, everybody. New distribution deal. You can now get this podcast on Name Drops. So just like, name drops.
This feels like it's a deal you've done without me, because I don't know what name drops is.
Oh, no. You're familiar with name drops. I'm going to run through a few examples on how this deal works, and you're going to go, oh, yeah, name drop.
Okay.
So, like, for instance, if I was to say I had drinks with Ed Gamble last night, you can pick up that name.
Yeah.
And there's a QR code on it now.
Whoa.
And that takes you to the podcast.
That's
what about
tech.
you? Have you got any examples you could use?
See if I could track. Last night I bought James Acaster a cocktail.
What cocktail was it, hypothetically?
I can't remember. It had a name about, hang on, Phil Wang in it, because I was also chatting with Phil Wang.
Yeah, you bought someone who runs a food and drink podcast a cocktail.
I sure did. Yeah.
Just in case it's not clear, the whole name drop new technology, I'll give you another one. Trent Seven. Trent Seven. You can now scan that name and be taken directly to this podcast.
See if I can find another one.
Actually, any others?
Any others? Yeah. Oh, Big Damo.
Big Damo. Yes. The WrestleTalk's own Big Damo. And Sullivan Bo Brown.
Yeah, that one's bit of a lesser
crumble.
one.
It's one I found at the bottom of my pocket.
In the lint. With debris and some crumpled receipts.
Now, unfortunately, there is some health hazards with so much name dropping. We're brutally hungover at times.
All right, well, you're brutally hungover. I'm broadly fine.
I don't know how you do it. I can watch you sink 8 pints and
two gin and tonics.
And the next day you wake up. The only thing is your voice is a bit croakier. That's the only thing that you can tell.
I was on the phone to my wife this morning because I stayed at my brother's house last night, and so stayed out. Yeah. No parental responsibilities for me this morning. And I was on the phone to my wife, and she was like, "Was it loud there last night? Was it?" Because my voice was like, "Oh, good morning. Are you all right?" And that is, my voice is a little bit. It's got that gravelly texture to it.
My partner said, did you have a good time last night? I was like, yeah, it was really, really fun. It was so cool. And then she said, I know you had a good time. I was like, what do you mean? And she showed me some text. Of essentially me doing the whole name drop thing to her. Just seen Joe Lycett. I just spoke to Ed Gamble. From 11 p.m. through to 3 a.m. Keeping her awake.
Yeah. Although I think Sullivan had the best name drop experience, because he then went to someone else. He went to a famous comedian's house.
Yeah.
Sullivan, of course, himself being a famous comedian. But these are actual, famous comedians. To watch Celebrity Traitors with other famous comedians.
So cool.
He wasn't even invited. He just gate crashed.
We're cool by association. People find name dropping cool.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah, unless, of course, they do listen to this podcast and they hear us, and then they
immediately distance themselves from it. We put out a little lame statement. Yeah. I was just being polite. I do not. But yeah, we'll talk about that. It was Clash of the Comics, of course. If you've seen the WrestleTalk News, we've done some skits with them this week. It was excellent.
So much fun.
I'm sure it'll be both our recommendation.
Yes, although I do have another recommendation.
I've also got another recommendation. Yeah. But in today's episode, we are going through Title Tuesday of AEW Dynamite.
And NXT, not Invasion, Showdown. And
don't mention that invasion.
Don't mention the invasion. And we're going to be... Try that again. We're going to be kicking things off with Crown Jewel predictions, because it's Crown Jewel this Saturday.
Yeah, plug for Crown Jewel, you can go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, where Luke and Dan Layton will be doing live reactions to the show for the $6.50 and above backers.
Yeah, so if you're one of our American viewers, you can join us, very early in the morning, like sort of 4 a.m., 3 a.m. time. Come join us there. And if you're in the UK, it's a little lunchtime hangout. We're going to have some cups of tea.
Yeah, and then, of course, we'll have the normal WrestleTalk news review with Luke and the podcast review of the show.
Indeed.
And what should we start off with in our matches?
Well, we've got 5 matches to cover on this show. Let's kick off with the Australian street fight.
Oh, Australian.
As Roman Reigns takes on Bronson Reed.
Do you think we're going to get a Crocodile Dundee cameo? You call that a knife?
Is he still alive?
Oh, no, really?
Well, no, I don't know. That's what I was asking.
What's the actor, the comedian's name? Paul something?
I'm going to grab...
Is it Paul Hogan?
It is Paul Hogan.
I was like, we've watched so much Hogan-era TNA recently.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just seeing Hogans everywhere.
Still alive.
Yeah!
He was born in 1939.
Wow. That's the breakout of World War II.
He is 86 years old.
Well, I think, yeah, he can still do a spot with Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. All you have to do is hand someone a knife. All you have to do is point out, you call that a knife?
Yeah.
And then give Bronson Reed some form of machete.
Or say, that's a spoon.
Oh, knifey spoony Simpsons reference.
Yeah,
well
cool.
done.
Yeah. Show my age.
Yeah. Comments will go, oh yeah, I like that Simpsons episode. But for the actual match, I think this is the hardest one to predict on the show.
Me too. No, actually... I'd say actually quite a few of these are could go either ways.
And usually that's because Crown Jewel, there's an element of bragging rights to it. It doesn't really matter. But for the men's stuff, I think they've done really well this year to make us care about some of these stories. Even though we're critiquing WWE a lot right now for how glacial the booking has been, it's actually the last couple of weeks have been pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so. I feel that, I've said this on the podcast many times before, but I think Terminally Online Triple H saw a lot of the negative feedback his shows were getting and is like, I'm going to pull my finger out. I'm going to make people care about Crown Jewel of all things. That'll learn them.
Well, there's this report that I read this morning that Road Dogg they're going to add more people to the writing team to make SmackDown good.
Well, yeah, I think the quote was, because it's from Body Slam's Patreon, was to make SmackDown more fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it is quite a dry show at times.
Yeah, I mean, Road Dogg he's like the flashpoint for all the criticism whenever he gets put in charge of a brand.
It's also, and I feel with Road Dogg now, he may as well redo the intro to his theme song was like, oh, it's who you know.
I would suggest replacing Road Dogg, not adding more people around Road Dogg.
Road Dogg's not the problem. It's the lack of people around Road Dogg that's the problem.
A faction. You need a Billy Gunn. You need a
bring
K-Quick.
Bring a Waltman in.
So the reason we're saying this all about Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed is that I feel like they have built this for a Bronson Reed victory. Roman beat him at the Clash in Paris show, although they're not really mentioning that. They're saying Roman was stretched out. Yeah, that's what they're focusing on. I don't know why Bronson in the Go Home promo is like, well, Roman can just say, I beat you already. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But
I think if Roman was to say on Raw, but I've already beaten you, that negates you doing a rematch. It's why really Reed should have won the first match.
Yeah. Which makes you think it's in Australia. He's the hometown guy. It's a stipulation designed for him, being an Australian street fight, which Paul Heyman
lost.
Yeah, has added this law thing where that's how he was brought up, scrapping in the illegal street fighting scene in Oz.
Just to be clear as well, he's not from Perth. He's just from the country of Australia.
Same thing.
Brackets general.
Yeah.
So on that note, I really feel that Reed should get the win here. But also the story that you just laid out then is perfect for Roman to win.
You think?
Well, because if you're ignoring that he beat him at Clash... And the story is just, you took him out, you put him on a stretcher, he's in a fight that he's never lost before. It's a stipulation, he's beaten every single person. That is set up for Roman to then beat him.
How do we make Roman look good?
Well, I don't even think it's just about Roman looking good. I think if you put any babyface in that position, that is designed to make the babyface get the big victory over the person that put him in the hospital.
Oh, you see, because Roman did win the first one, I know they're not really focusing on that, but because Roman won the first one, this is on home turf. It's the street fight. Bron Breakker can get involved. Paul Heyman can get involved. Roman doesn't. I guess the Usos can get involved, but that might backfire based on the drama that's going on there. I think this is set up for Bronson to get a victory and protect Roman, even though he's taken a loss. It's only his second singles match of the year.
Yeah, and the other one was against Bronson Reed.
Yeah, and Roman, didn't win the Rumble. He didn't win the three-way at Mania.
Yeah.
What other matches has he had?
Then it's the tag matches. Then it's the two singles matches.
Yeah.
It's Bronson Reed in this one.
So
he has 4 matches this year.
He's doing all right for himself. Do I say Bronson Reed? I feel like this would set up a third match for the definitive match, which Roman would then win, go into a feud with Bron Breakker, eventually win that feud as well, have a match with Seth Rollins at Mania.
I'm inclined to agree. For the sake of being different, I'm going to go with Roman Reigns. But I do like your idea of it, because if Reed wins here, you could have Roman be the guy that pins Reed in War Games.
Yes, that works.
So that works. So then you're not doing a third match, but Roman does get the overall victory in this feud, and then he can go and do the stuff with Braun before he then has the match with Seth. Because I think that's the direction we're heading in, is Roman versus Seth. That feels like that's the WrestleMania direction. Particularly with Punk saying, my feud with Seth ends at the end of the year. But for the sake
Believe that when I see it.
But for the sake of difference, I'm going to go with Roman Reigns. I think in Wrestle League I've picked Reed, but I'm sitting on the fence on this one. I'm playing both sides, so I look smart wherever you get your content from. Up next, it is Rhea Ripley and Io Sky Rio taking on the Kabuki Warriors of Asuka and Kairi Sane.
Yeah, I think this is a bit more clear-cut. I feel Rhea Ripley in Australia, this is the person to give a big win to. She'll feel even bigger than normal. And, the project of continually pushing her to be one of the biggest stars of the company. We were talking to some people last night. No, not Ed Gamble or Phil Wang or anyone like that. Just a normal person, a normal, regular civvy. And they weren't necessarily a wrestling fan. They were there for the comedy. And I asked them, do you know anything about wrestling? The only person they knew was Rhea Ripley.
Is that so?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Because it was just all over the social media.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, right?
The butt.
Yeah, the butt. The virality of the butt. I think I'm agreeing with you. I think it's Rio to get the win here, particularly because Sane got the win on Raw.
Yeah. It's a shame, though, because I feel like the Asuka act is stronger because they're the new heel. They've just turned heel. Rhea and Io, despite being friends, they're not a fully formed tag team. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Rio to get the win here. John Cena is taking on AJ Styles. We don't need no stinking story.
John Cena.
John Cena. Yeah. I don't think AJ gets anything out of winning this match. And I don't know. I think it'll be good.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Do you know why it'll be good? Big move, kick out. Big move, kick out.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think 10 minutes, no moves.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, but then we get into big move, kick out. Big move, kick out. This is awesome, kick out. For the Women's Crown Jewel Championship, it is the Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquer taking on the WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton.
With Tiffany Stratton being undefeated all year. So you've got the new champion Stephanie versus undefeated whole year champion Tiff.
Yeah.
I feel like Stephanie should win this just to continue that momentum. And also, you can beat Tiffany, even though she is the women's champion in this match, and she doesn't lose the belt.
Yeah.
I think that's a more interesting story.
I think Stephanie's winning this one. This is the one I'm pretty sure on. Some of these other ones, with Roman and Bronson, I could go either way with. Even in the Kabuki Warriors match, I really could go, because I think there's such a good argument for Asuka and Sane to win. Here, I'm pretty much nailed on. No, I think Stephanie's winning.
Yeah.
Which probably is going to be the main event of the show for the Men's Crown Jewel Championship. Cody Rhodes, the undisputed WWE Champion, is taking on Seth Rollins, who himself is also a World Champion, despite Cody being the undisputed World Champion. I'm
going to go Seth.
I I think it is going to be Seth. I've gone Seth in Wrestle League. And I was saying on the Raw podcast, I think the more interesting option is for Cody to win, just because of the stakes that were set up on Raw when Paul Heyman was doing that thing. I was like, maybe I'm going to have to start questioning, you're going to lose the faith of Bronson and Braun. I think there's a really interesting direction. And also, I've been so into Seth. And the reason I'm into Seth is because of the self-doubt and because of the mask slipping on Seth. If he wins, I feel like the mask will just go right back up and he'll be back to being annoying prick Seth. And so I'm less interested in Seth winning, but I do think Seth should win. Otherwise, I think it just does a lot of damage to Seth as a character, I guess.
Yeah, because they've had 3 matches now. Cody's won every single one of them.
And it's the World Heavyweight Championship, which doesn't feel like a legitimate championship. Last year, when it was just like, Cody beat Gunther, did nothing for the world title, did nothing for Cody either. So Cody kind of gets nothing out of winning. I think Seth gets way more out of winning here.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if I'd be really, really upset if they do revert right back to Seth with all the colourful, obnoxious clothes. I really hope they can keep this insecure character of Seth, even if he wins. I think you can do that, because now he knows the threat. Because Paul said, if you lose, it's not just this match. If you lose any matches, if you lose that title, none of these guys are going to follow you.
Yeah.
We're not following you because of you. We're following you because of that belt.
The only other reason I could give you Cody to win is because he might be in War Games against Seth. Like, Cody's Avengers going up against the Vision and a couple of heels. So you can have that be set up through this match. Like Seth and the Vision going out for revenge on Cody.
But that... If Cody is with Roman on that team, which I think works really well for the larger feuds, you're saying, because I like the idea earlier, Roman pins Bronson Reed, then Seth and Bronson Reed should win these matches at Crown Jewel, and then the baby faces get the win at War Games.
Yeah, that also works. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's been really well told, and I really, really love Seth right now, which I have not said for a long time, so a lot of credit to the guy.
Not an invasion, but a simple showdown between NXT and TNA. Overall, I reviewed the show yesterday on the WrestleTalk News, and I was underwhelmed by this episode of NXT. It was fine. But when you evoke, at least for a couple of days, Invasion of 2001, you sort of expect something bigger. And also, it's TNA versus NXT. They've been building this for ages. NXT have taken TNA titles. A TNA star needs to win back these. And really, at the end of this show, it was just Ava and Santino Marella shaking hands, being like, well, put that behind us.
Yeah,
do you want to come next week? Because I've got a Battle Royal on. So if you want to send some people over, that'd be great.
Yeah, and when the TNA guys started to build the resentment towards NXT, it felt like, this is not just bragging rights, who's got the better brand. There's a blood feud element to it. We are actually sick of you guys coming into TNA and taking our titles.
Yeah.
And you've got Bound for Glory this weekend as well.
Yeah.
I thought they missed an opportunity. It was a fine show, but it could have been so much better. But the biggest problem for me, why does Showdown have a lowercase n at the end of it?
Let me have a look. What did the logo look like?
It's the word Showdown.
It's in the Invasion font.
It's in the Invasion font. The W of Showdown takes the form of the V, the big V in the middle. And everything is capital letters, apart from the last N, which is lowercase.
Is it just because that was also how the Invasion logo was?
Oh, was it?
I'm just going to double check. 2001 images. Yeah, it was a lowercase n there as well.
Oh, okay. Well, the way it just looked like the Roman numeral for 2. And I thought, have we done one of these before?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we've just shown then is that you thought this was lame, then I showed you something from 2001.
It's okay.
It's okay now.
It was cool back then.
Yeah.
A random lowercase letter somewhere.
Leet speak. But I thought this was fairly underwhelming overall as a show. I think it was missing, you're right, that blood feud element to it, where it felt like these are two brands that absolutely hate each other and are at war with each other. They're looking for brand supremacy. Like, none of that wasn't here. And I couldn't kind of like work out what it was. And someone pointed out in the comments, and I can't believe I didn't think about this. That's because it's going against Dynamite. It's going against Title Tuesday. So if all of a sudden this feels like, wow, we're just doing an invasion show out of the blue, it's because Title Tuesday's on. And really what NXT wants to do is win the ratings war this week. So you load it up with a big gimmick show, as opposed to doing what they did previously, which is put John Cena and The Undertaker on as in Cody Rhodes. And I much prefer this method of competing against Dynamite than just doing the cameo version of NXT.
But
I suppose they don't have the Hardys in the openings match.
Yeah, unfortunately, the first hour of this show was crap.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it picks up...
It was crap.
It picks up once Mustafa Ali and Ethan Page have a match.
Decent match, that.
Yeah, really good.
We don't review on the podcast. We don't really get a chance to talk about our thoughts about NXT in this format, at least. Booker T is unlistenable.
He's the worst commentator in professional wrestling.
He puts me off watching NXT.
Yeah. I was thinking about Booker this morning. I'm going to give Booker T some credit because he is, I would say, a lot of the reason, not a lot of the reason, but a good reason of the why Stephanie Vacquer's Devil Kiss is as over as it is. It's not just because it's the move itself is over, it's the noises that Booker T made and the virality of the noises that he made is what's led to the crowd doing those noises now that she is on the main roster. So some credit to Booker T and his noises. But I also think that is what has made Booker T a terrible commentator, because he has seen, well, if I do things like that, I become viral on Twitter, so I'm just going to do that all the time. That is now all I do on commentary, is I just say, oh yeah, man, and then just say some random things and then make some random noises. Someone will clip it into a 4-second video on Twitter and people will talk about me.
Crack my dick.
He
like
said neck. That's what he's always saying.
Dick and neck, they sound so similar. I agree. It's just encouraged the guy, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like when you've got a young child who says something that's genuinely funny and all the adults laugh and the kid just doesn't really understand what's happened. So they keep saying the thing and it becomes really annoying.
Yeah. He is the worst commentator in all of professional wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
For some years as well now. I don't think there's been anyone as bad at this as Booker T for a while.
And he showed such promise in the main event Mafia episode of Impact.
Our opening contest was a title versus title match. The NXT Tag Team Championships and the TNA Tag Team Championships on the line as the Hardy Boys took on Dark State in what was a very sloppy match.
Yes. Partly because of Dark State, partly because of Hardys. I think they also didn't work well here. They wrestled really slow.
Yes, it was a bit treacle. Wrestling through treacle. Does not give me a lot of hopes for a match with the Dudley Boys this coming weekend.
I like seeing the Dudley Boys in the crowd, though.
With the glasses.
Oh, it's so cool. Well, because we're doing the Aces and Eights series right now on Patreon. I just love Bully Ray. When I see him, I'm like, because he doesn't look that different. He doesn't look like he's aged that much.
Not at all. It was funny because we were reviewing Lockdown 2013 on the same day that I watched NXT Showdown. I didn't see Busted Open Radio's Bully Ray.
No.
You just sort of see these sort of like Skype camera images of Bully Ray. I didn't see that guy. I just saw TNA Lockdown 2013 Bully Ray and Sergeant at Arms TNA television champion Devon Dudley sat next to him, and I was like, yeah, they're gonna kick some ass, even though I think it'll be a fairly sloppy owl match.
Oh yeah,
but it's a tables match, so there'll be plenty of smoke and mirrors around it. They've also announced as well it's going to be for both titles at Bound for Glory. So
wow, yeah, because the Hardys did win the NXT tag team titles here.
Yeah.
So they're both the TNA and NXT champions. But yeah, just the two main botches, which really they really made the match. It took me out of the match. Was when I can't remember the Dark State. One of Dark State.
Yeah.
Went to do a leg drop. Jeff Hardy was already sat up, so he just leg dropped the ground. Fine, you could sort of say, oh, Jeff countered that, even though it wasn't really what happened. But then Jeff sold it.
Yeah.
So that's on both guys there.
It is on both guys.
And also there was a doomsday device that they set up on Matt Hardy, and it just fell apart.
Yeah. Not good. Not a good way to open this show. With the women's Survivor Series match, it's Team NXT versus Team TNA, which is basically just Team NXT versus NXT again, with Jordan Grace as the special guest referee. This women's TNA side is an absolute joke.
Yeah, the Iconics, who I thought looked pretty bad here.
Coming out to their NXT theme, no less.
And they kept saying it, and NXT's Kalani Jordan.
Yeah. Who
was the Knockouts champion,
and who was really the last remaining survivor for her team as well, and had the match won had it not been for Jordan Grace being distracted by the Iconics on the outside.
Yeah, I know that the guys won in the main event, but this is how WWE really feel about working with other promotions.
Yeah. And it was just like the TNA side was NXT's Kalani Jordan, the inspiration coming out to their NXT theme, and Mara, what's it called? Mara Sade is her name now?
Yes.
Who was in NXT just a couple of months ago as Jakara.
Yes, Jakara Jackson. Yeah.
So, again, this doesn't look like a TNA team.
Yeah, but the NXT, it was the same for the men's. The NXT teams all had matching gear.
Yeah, well, they're a cohesive unit. Unlike these TNA guys, they don't know how to work.
I just thought that was so weird because usually it's lame to us when they all come out in the matching t-shirts.
Yeah.
But when only one side does it, it makes them look cool and together.
It makes them look like a unit.
Yeah.
So Carlos Silva, by the way, was shown throughout this show, giving real Dixie Carter energy. Jada Parker was out first by Mara Sade, and then she got soul snatched immediately, so she was eliminated as well.
The main positive of this match is Sol Rooker really
good.
has something.
Yeah.
It's not just the wrestling ability, because she's a very excellent gymnast, and that the soul snatcher is such a cool move.
Yeah.
As contrived as it is, and I don't really see what the backflip or whatever that flip is gains. Of course, it's the momentum.
Yeah.
But she has a charisma about her.
Yeah.
That's very easy to get behind.
Completely agree. James Dealer was talking about this on Gorilla Position when, because obviously Sol Rooker and Zarya were on SmackDown. Was it last week or a couple of weeks ago now? And it was the same thing then. The second that Sol Rooker, in the ring, and she's got a different look about it than everyone else, and then she hits the Soul Snatcher. If you're the main roster audience and you've never seen that move before, it's like, whoa, that is something I've not seen a wrestler do before. That is really cool. I think she's going to have a wonderful time up on the main roster. Lola Vice hit the back fist and she eliminated Cassie, and then she also eliminated Jessie McKay. So Kalani Jordan was down 3-1, but she did get a visual pin on JC Jane, but Grace was dealing with the inspiration on the outside. Jane and Rooker started to fall apart, which allowed Jordan to eliminate Lola Vice, where Kalani Jordan was then announced as the winner of the match.
As if it couldn't get any more sloppy. Even the ring announcer got it wrong.
And I think that lost the crowd. Yeah. Because the crowd then weren't really there for the remainder of the match. Another soul snatcher by Rooker, but JC Jane tagged herself in it and stole the win, stole the glory, and Team NXT won.
I don't feel like they've really followed through with this JC Soul tension, because they, like you said, they were butting heads a bit, and then JC steals the pin and they celebrate together.
Yeah.
Where's Sol going like, what the hell?
Well, that's there to set up the thing that came later on, because Zarya has now got the jealousy about Sol being friends with other people. And Blake Monroe is there to stir the pot and start to do some dissension between Zarya and Sol Rooker so that she can win the North American Championship from her. So it's sort of there to do that, but also then don't do the stealing the pin gimmick.
What was the other thing? It was fun seeing JC Jane as a face. Because she, in those hot tag moments in the match, it was, all those super kicks. She's really good.
Ava was chatting with Matt Cardona backstage, who would apologize for getting involved in the Josh Briggs match last week. Basically, he was like, I just wanted to be part of Team TNA, and I'm not. So I wanted to find a way to get a match in NXT. And he then hid behind the door as Josh Briggs walked in. And Ava booked a match between Briggs and Cardona for next week. So this invasion will continue. Just next week's show. Ethan Page then took on Mustafa Ali for the North American Championship. I really liked this match.
Very good match.
Really, really good.
Kind of inventive in a low-key way as well, because the finish was Like, I've not seen that before.
Yeah, because the story is that Ali is cursed in WWE. They were talking about on commentary. Couldn't win at WrestleMania. He didn't win Money in the Bank because he got screwed out of it then. He was going to get a North American Championship. Then he got released by the company. He is cursed when he's in WWE. He's very successful elsewhere, but something about WWE just works against him. And it happened in the finish. Did this insane dive to the outside, was on top, was going to go up top to hit his move to get the win, but his foot got caught in Booker T's headset cord. Booker T again.
Yeah.
And that distracted him, and it allowed Ethan Page to push him off the top rope for this wild bump.
Yeah.
And then he hit the twist of fate for the win. Really, really good finish for a really good story. I really enjoyed it. Sarah Schreiber interviewed El Hijo Dr. Wagner Jr., who cut a promo in Spanish saying he's coming for that title, and Lexus King walked in, and playing off, they did the angle a couple of weeks ago where it was Tavion Heights, and it was like, you're Tavion Heights again. It's building to a match between Lexus King and El Hijo Dr. Wagner Jr. next week.
Yeah, I thought Lexus King would do better in NXT. I feel like he's well, I don't know, just like what they did with Ricky Starks and Blake Monroe, that they're at least pushing them, but
yeah. I think Brian Pillman Jr., bless his heart, has got a ceiling. Team NXT was celebrating. This is where we got Zara being jealous of Sol Ruka to build to that Blake Monroe championship match. And then it was the men's team of TNA in the Survivor Series match going up against the men's team NXT with Joe Hendry as the special guest referee. The idea of having Joe and Jordan was a really interesting idea because Joe is in TNA, but really he feels like an NXT guy. And Jordan has just come from NXT and was in NXT. Oh, sorry, has just come from TNA. She was in TNA a lot when she was part of NXT. So they've got their foot in both doors in a way. But I don't really think it really played much into either match. Like, apart from Jordan missing the count on the outside, but that could have been any referee doing that. And the only one here was Frankie Kazarian tried to get a pin with his foot on the ropes, and Joe caught him and gave him a little cheeky smile to be like, huh? I caught you.
Yeah, I thought they added nothing, I'm afraid. And it just confuses things even more because you've got this special guest referee spot already in like a match that's quite crowded with other ideas. Just have a normal referee.
Yeah. Carlos Silva was shown again. Kaz eliminated Miles Bourne immediately after a slingshot cutter. He then tried to eliminate Trick with his feet on the ropes, where Joe caught him. I've written here 3 men in this match, nearly half of the lineup were in AEW just a couple of years ago. Slater eliminates Evans, Javon Evans, and then it came down to Starks and Trick Williams representing NXT, while all of TNA had its 4 guys. It had Frankie Kazarian, it had Moose, it had Leon Slater, and it had Mike Santana. And then Williams bailed.
Yeah.
He eliminated himself from the match, leaving it so it's Stark 4-on-1. And Team TNA suck because they could not put away Starks with a 4-on-1 advantage.
That's even though the men's team won for TNA, and that's the closing bit of the show. Yeah, there is still that there.
Yeah.
I guess they still won with 2 people because it was at Kaz first and then Slater.
It was Slater, yeah.
Just on the Leon pin Javon. They're having a match at Bound for Glory, which it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Do you think that means Javon's winning?
There's every chance that Javon walks away with the X Division Championship. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Moose accidentally speared Santana, which gave a good near fall for Ricky Saints, but then they got back together on the same page, and Team TNA won.
Yeah, good for TNA.
It was fine.
Yeah.
And then, we cut backstage, and Ava and Santana are just having a nice chat about all of it.
Yeah, so it's like, what was the point of all of this?
Nothing. I know, that's why I was so underwhelmed by it. At the end, I was like, what was the point of any of this?
I feel like Santana's wrestling a totally different storyline in his head because he seems so annoyed by NXT.
There is the discussion about Mike Santana to be had is when people thought he should have won the title at Slammiversary. And I think now we can probably look back at it and say, yeah, he should have done. Because the argument was, they won't lose all that momentum going into Bound for Glory. And Bound for Glory will be the time where he beats Trick Williams and wins the title back. I don't feel like Mike Santana is as hot now as he was going into Slammiversary. I feel like he has gone off the boil.
We want to say a big thank you to our wonderful pledge hammers over on Patreon. Without you guys, this whole thing wouldn't be possible.
It falls apart.
It falls apart without people like, he can last Sean Fur longer than you in the ring.
Starbucks, Stephen Costa.
Shield Maiden, the Zornice.
Burley, Rob Burwell.
He ran. Aaron Hanrahan. Aaron Hanrahan.
Let him cook. Alex.
Apoc Alex now.
The Swiss submission machine, Andreas Fulgelistar.
You can look, but you can't touch. Bella Pearson.
I'm afraid he's got some bad news. It's bad news. Bob the Ninja Goldfish.
Chris Hellfire Brimstone.
And lastly, for this Hall of Fame class on Thursday, the 9th of October, the Blade Bearer, Christopher Sordillo.
Of course, go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk to get your own shout out on this show. But also because, we mentioned it already, Luke and Dan will be doing live reactions exclusively on Patreon for Crown Jewel. And last weekend, we had TLC's best catchphrases ever. What did you think about the show?
The TLC.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Very good. For those who aren't about the worst catchphrases, it's coming back. It's getting re-uploaded. Oh, yeah. So, there was a slight error was made. Human error, I would say, with a combination of YouTube error. We put up a post about this on Patreon, public, so everyone could see it. But I'd made a mistake in the video when I told an anecdote wrong. I got the names mixed up. And I was like, oh, that's a silly mistake to make. And I don't know why I'd let it get to me, because it's not a big deal. But I was like, oh, do you know what I can do? I can use YouTube's internal editor to cut that little bit out. That's fine. I can do that. It's not going to take me 15 minutes on a Saturday. And then for whatever reason, YouTube, when I put the timestamps in, YouTube reset the first timestamp to 00000, i.e. the start of the video. So YouTube just cut out 48 minutes of the video and you can't undo it. And so the video just became 3 minutes and 45 seconds long. So immediately I saw that, made it private, and I was like, oh, we'll have to re-upload this.
But that is coming for everyone on Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah. So please do watch it, because it's going to get killed in the algorithm because it's a re-upload. So we really do need you to go and support this one. I thought this was a fine edition of Dynamite.
I really like some of the matches on it.
Yeah.
But you know what, actually?
Moxley Ishii was great.
Maybe it's because they're doing the 2.5 hour things now. It feels like the shows should have bigger things or bigger angles happening on them. But in terms of, if this was just a normal 2 hour Dynamite, I think this would be a really good show.
Me too. For kind of the opposite of NXT, I thought the first half was better than the second half. Although I really enjoyed the tag match, actually, with Bro Dido and the Don Callis family.
I love the Pat Cassidy match.
Did you?
Yeah,
I didn't think it captured the magic of their previous ones. And I hated the finish. Really hated the finish.
Yeah, that was a bit goofy.
So the opening of the show, I adored. And it's Tony Schiavone holding a showdown, if you will, between Hangman Adam Page and Samoa Joe. And Page just opens this thing up being like, what's happened to me in AEW? I've committed arson. I've dressed up as a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I've even had someone propose to me. I've never been more confused in this company than I was last week when you were kicking and screaming about nothing. And he just cuts this promo on Joe saying, I think the truth of the matter is you're just angry. You're not the champion anymore. And I want to give you a shot at this title, but not because you kicked and screamed, because I owe it to you. Without the ops, without your help at All In, I might not be the world champion right now. So I actually owe you this title shot. But I just want you to know that it's not because of your hissy fit actions that I'm doing this.
It's the sheriff. He's laying down the law.
He's
not rewarding bad behavior.
Yeah.
He's rewarding good behavior.
And Joe says, no, some of that's true. If it wasn't for the ops, you would not be champion. And he said, because I loved Joe's line. When I look at you holding that belt, I don't see the pinnacle of this business. I don't see the pinnacle of this industry. I see a fraud. It's great.
Joe's so good. It's mad that this was just set up last week.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the go home segment in a 4-week-long program.
He said, I am going to dominate you in the match. You'll get your hope spots and you'll make a little comeback, but then I will choke you out. You cannot withstand this.
Is there anyone else in the last 20 years like Joe where you can just take him from a mid-carder, which unfortunately is what he's usually booked as, and go, okay, you're a serious contender for the world title now?
Yeah.
WWE have done it. AEW have done it. TNA used to do it. NXT. And it always works. And then they just put him back down to the mid-card.
It's because he's credible.
Yeah.
It's because he has got that incredible... He's just got that credibility about him. I think Moxley's in a similar position, actually, whereas, like, you know, he was in the top of the card and he's now in the upper mid-card at this point. But you could easily just slot him back into the main event and it won't feel like, oh, where have you been for all this time? Paige says that for every shot you give me, I'm going to give you 2 back. Because here's the thing, you can't outlast me. Yeah, I'm going to get beaten up. Sure am. But I will eventually win because you cannot outlast me in this ring. And then I hope that when I do beat you, you will shake my hand and you will recognize me as the champion of the world.
Cool.
So good.
Looking forward to that match.
Loved it. Alicia chatted with the conglomeration with Mark Briscoe hyping up all of the matches. And then we had, Jon Moxley versus Tomohiro Ishii. I said it in my review yesterday, but this was stiffer than Booker T during an NXT women's match.
Gonna crack that dick. Yeah, this was great. It's Ishii and Mox.
Yeah.
And Mox gave him a pile driver, but how do you pile drive a man with no neck? Ishii just got up and no-sold it.
He's a pile drive type Pokemon. Actually, it makes him stronger.
Awesome. And then early on in the match, Mox rammed Ishii's head into the ring post as well. And Ishii just looked at it. Like, excuse me.
Sorry?
Ishii's the best. Mox's chemistry with Ishii is off the charts, really.
Yeah.
And, yep, surprise, surprise, they had a great match.
Great match. Moxie got the win with the choke. Loved it. Renee chatted with... the Bucks were trying to chat with Tony Khan because they want to have another money match because they've got no money anymore. And Renee then tried to interview them and they said, we've got tickets so we can go see the Jurassic Express match tonight. The sort of tickets that apparently get you backstage access.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we know those exist because, don't know if we mentioned, we were at a wrestling show and we were sort of backstage.
We went to the after party.
After party, yeah. Tony Khan had his Tony Khan name on his locker door.
Yeah.
It looked like it was designed by Chris Statlander. This was full on late 90s, early noughties, kind of 60s psychedelic, alien UFO inspired font.
Maybe he's just letting everyone know who his favorite current wrestler is. We got the video of Storm versus Chris Statlander to hype up their match. Really good video package.
Yeah, they did this for the FTR Cope and Christian feud as well, with Renee doing the voiceover, loads of stats coming up on screen.
Yeah.
It's a fun way to do it.
They're actually going to be having a trios match on Collision against the Triangle of Madness, R-Storm and Stat. And then we had the Demands taking on the Hurt Syndicate in a street fight.
This was really fun.
It was, wasn't it?
I really liked it. And the Hurt Syndicate, they come out in their suits.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Lashley's he's in trainers as well. He looks like, I work in the city and I'm having work drinks. And it just looked badass. You got all the weapons spots. The story was kind of the Demand take out one of the Hurt Syndicate, and then I think they just isolated Benjamin. But then the Hurt Syndicate came back and isolated Ricochet. So you got that final comeuppance. I just thought maybe Cedric Alexander turns up.
I thought that's what they were hinting towards. Like when MVP was stood there, I was like, I think they're going to do a reveal that it's a secret third member of this group or a secret fourth member that's going to be a third member of this match. No, it was just MVP.
I thought that's why it was a street fight, so he could get involved and it's not illegal.
Well, it came down to Ricochet alone with the Hurt Syndicate guys who all beat him up, and then Shelton Benjamin absolutely launched Ricochet with this released German suplex through a table.
Thing of beauty. Ricochet has a lot of air anyway, and Sheldon's a strong man. Good combo.
It really was. Renee chats with the massive Don Callis family with no Andrade there. Andrade to WWE confirmed. Don hypes up the tag match later on.
Yeah.
And we got Jurassic Express taking on some lads. The joke of this with the Young Bucks is that while they did buy tickets to watch the show, the tickets were not together, and there were 2 kids in between them.
Visually confusing. It looked like they were their kids.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first as well. The commentators had to do a lot of heavy lifting to explain the joke. Jurassic Express won.
Yeah, it's a squash match. The main point was This is Jurassic Express's first match back, give them an easy win, and then the Bucks attack them afterwards to set up the Wrestle Dream match.
Death Riders cut a promo in a parking lot. I'm glad that they did this. Otherwise, I would not have believed that Pac is actually Pac and they've just recast it with someone else.
Yeah, it's amazing what cutting someone's hair can do.
And putting a singlet on.
Yeah, I will get to it. I really like it.
Okay, well, we'll come to that in a bit. Kyle Fletcher defended the TNT Championship against Kyle O'Reilly. This felt to me like this was the magic of Kyle O'Reilly that we've been wanting since he joined AEW, but injuries has kept from us. But this was like, oh yeah, you're Kyle freaking O'Reilly and you're awesome at this.
You're not Paragon Kyle O'Reilly or Undisputed Kingdom Kyle O'Reilly. You're not cool Kyle. You are just a submission death machine.
One half of Redragon.
Yes.
I loved it.
Where's the lie? Also, yeah, an hour 15 into Title Tuesday. It's our first title match.
It's our first title match. Strong and Ishii came down to make the save afterwards. Obviously, Kyle Fletcher retained. Rocky Romero and Lance Archer attacked. Mark Briscoe came down, and it came down to Mark and Fletcher, and they announced later on that Mark Briscoe will take on Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship at Wrestle Dream. Great stuff.
I think Mark could win that.
You reckon?
Well, Kyle's had the belt for a couple of months. Still feels early, but that does release Kyle to go up the card,
which I would like.
And I feel like Mark Briscoe, if he's not going to win a title now after MJF put him over, are we ever going to get an actual Mark Briscoe push?
Mercedes Moné took on Lacey Lane in the Open Challenge, which sounded like JC Jane got caught out and she had to come up with a new name in the moment.
Or Lacey, who was the women's right?
Lacey Evans.
Lacey Evans, yeah.
Yeah. Lacey Lane, who was the former Caden Carter in WWE. She's from the area. And I think that Mercedes Moné gave her a lot in this match. The crowd did not.
Yes. But it was because it was never in doubt.
Yes.
It
should have been Izzy.
It should have been Izzy. Some people said Shayna Baszler. But no offense, Caden Carter. It's not a big reveal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this match it was dead from the start. It was dead on arrival.
Moné won. Sammy cut a promo on Eddie to hype up the Collision match with Beast Mortos, and Eddie cut a return promo on him. And then we got what I think was probably my match of the entire of both shows.
I feel like all the matches on this Dynamite were excellent.
Which was Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada taking on Brodido in a double Jeopardy match. If the Don Callis family got the win, they would get a tag title shot at Wrestle Dream. If either Bandido or Brody pinned Takeshita and Okada, they would get a unified championship match. This was just awesome.
Yeah. Bandido, I've been saying it in the office for about a couple of weeks now. I think he's my favourite wrestler right now.
Yeah.
He's my new Penta. Like Penta, Dragon Lee, it's over. Not Dragon Lee, Ray Phoenix. It's over. I'm not going to
remember your name.
Yeah, but who? Another luchador? Bandido is just, I want him in everything.
Yeah.
And he's so likable. You know what it was? It was when we went to that never-ending press conference after All In.
It wasn't never-ending. It was never starting press conference.
And he came across so likable. And I feel like I've always really enjoyed his wrestling, obviously, for years and years, back to the original All In. But seeing him there, I fell in love with the guy as a person.
I had the same thing when he did the post-match promo backstage. Felt just so affable because he was blaming himself for the loss. And he's got the hurt wing because he was taken out by Hechicera and CMLL, which kind of puts over the power of the Don Callis family that no matter where you're going, there's someone in another promotion that can take you out. We had some miscommunication between Okada and Takeshita, which led to some really good near falls for Bandido. But unfortunately, that hurt wing of his meant that he could not hit the 21 plex, and Okada and Takeshita get the win off a Rainmaker.
Yeah, and they get the tag title shot at Wrestle Dream. Okada kind of stole that victory. I thought Takeshita had it in hand because Bandido was clearly injured and he couldn't use his arm for the 21 plex.
Yeah.
But Okada was like, no, I'm the big dog around here.
Well, he did that during the entrance as well. Like while Justin Roberts was doing Takeshita's introduction, Okada's music played over, and it made Justin Roberts stall over the introduction of Takeshita because he was caught by surprise by it. We had Jet Speed and Willow Nightingale cutting a promo on FTR and Megan Bain, and then had a return promo from them because they're having a trios match on Collision. And
not Stokely. I thought it'd be Stokely and FTR versus them.
I liked Stokes' lines that I may not be able to get hooked, but I've now got 2 bad bitches. Then our main event was Orange Cassidy versus Pac. Pac now wrestles in a singlet.
Yeah, well, singlet and trousers. He's got the short hair. Is he more ripped?
Well, this is what I was thinking, is that why would you hide how ripped you are?
Because later on in the match, you can reveal it. That's what he did. He took the straps down near the end. It feels like a different Pac, not just in appearance, but in style.
Yeah.
Like he was just quite cool, calm and collected, always chewing the gum, and he's standing in the middle of the ring, and he's just waiting for Cassidy to come at him, and he out-wrestles you. I didn't feel like this was the flashy kicks and flips and stuff that we're used to with Pac. It was more like, I'm a great wrestler. It feels like Blackpool Combat Club version of Pac.
I enjoyed this match, but as I said, I don't think it met the standards that have been set by previous encounters between these two.
And
I think it didn't help. I hate the finish.
The finish was they fought onto the stands, which actually was excellent the way they got there, because
there's Pac baiting him in.
Yeah, Cassidy, how did that work? Pac got the foot on the ropes after a big splash outside through a table. Pac gets his foot on the ropes. Cassidy's going to do another move, but Pac rolls out the ring.
He does the slow roll.
Just like Cassidy used to do to him in that first match when he was a comedy wrestler, more overtly comedy wrestler. But Pac was actually, suckering Cassidy in to go up into the stands. Pac hits the tombstone pile driver, now just a near full move, on the stands. But Cassidy gets back in to beat the count, and Pac has more trouble because it's little Darby.
Darby Allin cuffs his foot to a barricade, but Pac just broke free from it anyway. And then he ran back for a 9-count near fall. And then Orange Cassidy hit the orange punch and got the win. I thought this finish stunk.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. But I enjoyed all the stuff beforehand. And I did really get something out of Pac's new presentation.
I don't think it then helped further, because I thought what they did after this was so stupid. Because they're obviously brawling. Darby's got this wild eyes and he's brawling with Pac. The rest of the Death Riders come out. And then Darby gets a Molotov cocktail.
Well, he got a taser first.
With a microphone in it, apparently. And then he got a bottle of booze, and he had a rag in there, and he was going to light it on fire, and then security bum rushed him and took him out. So dumb. You're not going to throw a Molotov cocktail at... Well, you might throw a Moxley, actually. Mox probably do it again. I just thought this is... You remember you said there are some weapons that you think are just too much in wrestling. The ball-peen hammer by Aces and Eights. It's too much of a weapon. A Molotov cocktail... Come on.
The flamethrower. It takes me out of it.
Stupid.
Last week. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the hangover talking. When he's there with the Molotov cocktail, that was too much. It was like, oh my God. That's ridiculous.
It's so silly.
When the security guy, Monty Brown, pounced him into a load of crates, I was instantly won over. I thought that was so funny. Probably not in the way they intended.
No, I don't think it's meant to be funny. That's the problem.
I was like, is this a new wrestler?
It's Monty Brown.
It was this huge security guard. And I thought, where's that guy? Is he going to get a match?
This is turning me off Darby Allin. And I'm a Darby guy. I've been a Darby defender on this show because I know you're not the biggest Darby Allin fan. But I'm I think that he's got a real, presence about him, and I really enjoy his matches. This is turning me off him.
Yeah. It's I think one of the things that keeps me at arm's length with Darby, and it's very similar to my feelings about Jeff, is that they take themselves quite seriously in a way I don't care for.
Yeah.
I think Moxley, take yourself seriously. That's cool and angry. But the sort of more emo serious, I really struggle to just empathize with. I don't know. I think it's I think emo's stupid.
Yeah.
I enjoy emo. I enjoy emo music, but it is stupid.
Well, that's it. It's why nu metal is a stupid genre of music, and the bands that did the best in it are the ones who recognise it's a stupid genre of music and lent into that. Cold Chamber are the best nu metal band in the world because they knew it's a stupid genre of music.
Because there's two ways to go about the Molotov cocktail. It's like, Molotov cocktail, crazy. which could be fun maybe if it was done in the right way. But I'm really serious and I'm going to really hurt you and I'm going to do all this stuff with the fire bomb. I think you're a bit of a loser.
Yeah, he's a loser. Thank you so much for your comments on last week's episode. I'm going to read some of them out right now.
Luke got them because I was hungover and still watching 4.5 hours of wrestling.
Yeah. Because I watched them yesterday. Last week we were talking about, is Triple H a good booker? And once you go through all the ones that are like, are you going to ask us about Tony Khan? Which I think we do on every podcast sometimes. Vicarish here says, been playing on my mind since mentioned there's been no champions born in the 1990s. So I had to check. And it's correct. What's worse is there have only been 4 champs of any singles belts born in the 90s, which is Dom, Bronson, Bron Breakker, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory.
Austin Theory.
Yeah.
Wow. What a Mount Rushmore.
And he says, is that the future world championship scene?
If Triple H takes 15 years before he's comfortable pushing a guy to the top, yes.
Joe Morazero says, I think Triple H deserves blame, but I do think the shift in the boring, safe booking is to appease shareholders with the corporate oversight now taking precedence over actual creativity and entertainment.
That was one of the conclusions we came to as well.
Yeah.
That it's very hard to take creative risks, which you sort of need as a creative business, when you do have a big corporate entity lording over you. It's just like, we need dependable percentage increase quarter on quarter. So just keep doing what you're doing with safe bets.
Yeah. This is an intro from David Young. I don't know if it was the David Young from TNA fame, from the Diamonds in the Rough. They write, Triple H is a mediocre booker and came in at the right time. He made shows consistent after Vince's erratic booking. Meanwhile, AEW was going through their rocky patch with CM Punk. Now, 3 years later, he is stagnant in his consistent booking while AEW is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, that's a good point. We hadn't brought up. Vince created such a low bar that we were overjoyed with basic consistency.
Yeah. And it's not just the CM Punk stuff. AEW was just going through a rocky patch brackets general because you had all the Andrade stuff as well. You had Eddie Kingston getting into a fight with Sammy Guevara. Like, it was just Triple H came in at just the right time to take the company up even further.
I always point to this. Tony Khan doubled his workload.
Yeah,
he was just booking one show and then an hour show with Rampage, and then all of a sudden Ring of Honor, Collision, like that, it burned him out. It burnt him out at that period when Triple H was kind of fresh.
Trey says, I'd like to say the honeymoon period is over with Triple H as head booker, but I think you guys hit perfectly on what it's really about. I agree that all in all, Triple H is an okay booker. When it's a main storyline that involves a Triple H guy or girl, it tends to be enjoyable to really good. But with things outside that, he has a habit of dropping the ball or neglecting it. The consistent 3 out of 5-ness was refreshing in the beginning, but as you said, a couple of years in, that sameness and slow burn booking starts to feel old.
Yeah, if you're just, I said it last week, if you're just on the motorway doing 70 miles an hour, you cease to feel like you're going fast or slow.
Yeah.
You do need variation. You need occasionally you need a bit of a jam.
So what is your recommendation for the week?
Well, of course, it's Clash of the Comics. Yeah. I think people in the UK will hopefully be able to watch it soon. I think clashofthecomics.com.
It's clashofthecomics.live is where you can watch it on pay-per-view around the world.
Yeah, and go there. So that will have where you can watch it. But of course, we were very fortunate to be there in the building. It was, the as you can probably tell, it's Britain's best comedians, Gamble, Acaster, Joe Lycett, Sarah Pascoe,
CEO
Joe, Rosie Jones, all these people.
Yeah.
With Max and Yvonne, who were on Brainbusters with us. They're the sort of guys who developed
the OGs,
the old guys. And it is, they do wrestling matches. Simon Miller was on it.
It's a comedy wrestling show with comedians. It's like the original idea was putting comedians in the ring with wrestlers. So the opening match was Macy Adam versus Nina Samuels, which honestly I thought was awesome. Yeah. It was so good as a match. It was so much fun. Macy Adams, Queen of the North, based in Brighton. But the main events of this show was the first ever comedian versus comedian wrestling match that they have done. It was Ed Gamble versus Phil Wang for the title.
Yeah, and it was Dave Bradshaw leant over to us at one point and went, "This feels like Memphis," in that sort of Andy Kaufman, just getting that kind of heat that comedians can get.
Yeah.
In a wrestling ring, because stand-up comedy, I feel, is so similar to live performance in wrestling.
Yeah,
interacting with the crowd, dealing with heckles. You don't get that in other live performances. You're not meant to heckle or chant in the Globe when you're watching Midsummer Night's Dream.
I do though. So I thought what was fascinating about the main event so you have 3 commentators. You had Greg James and Nish Kumar and Sarah Pascal doing commentary, and they were playing it over the loudspeakers, which I think was a really smart move because it is a comedy show and a lot of the people there were comedy fans rather than were wrestling fans. They were there to see the comedians. So you have that, and Nish Kumar's telling brilliant jokes. Sarah Pascal's adding along. Greg James is being as impartial as he can from the BBC. But during the main event, I actually didn't hear the commentary because I was so focused on the actual wrestling itself. It felt like the main event of the show. And the crowd weren't then just laughing at the commentary and the jokes they were making or the comedy in the ring. They were just into the story of the match.
And it's because it was such a casual crowd. There were obviously wrestling fans there. But most of them, I feel, were... I've never seen a wrestling show before. I didn't even watch the Attitude Era. Never watched it as a kid. They're just there. So you can watch all the tricks that are quite... We see as quite cynically now, because they don't work on us. But you get to live vicariously through these new people who just are going crazy for a near fall off a body slam. Because, they're not trained wrestlers. They're doing pretty basic moves, but very effectively at the right time. And that the crowd don't know any better.
Yeah.
So they're reacting to a body slam or a bottom rope suplex.
Yeah.
Superplex.
Honestly,
it's the biggest spot of the night.
That superplex was really good. It was awesome. I gave it 4.25 stars as a match. I had such a good time with it.
I was really impressed with just the way all the vignettes were done, the skits. You talk about this was comedians doing wrestling, but think about how when wrestlers try and do comedy, it's a bit hit and miss, and even the really great skits are wrestlers doing comedy. It's not as tight, but when the comedians were doing their skits in between the matches or pre-filmed things, they were hilarious. Really James Acaster's entrance was just brilliant.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
And actually, some of the wrestlers they did have on the show played their role doing the comedy as well. Bullet has incredible comedic timing.
I'm not familiar with Bullet until this week. I know he's in Progress a lot, but I thought he's got really great comedic instincts.
Yeah. And the other one I was going to say, Simon Miller. Simon Miller, and I know that he does a lot of comedy because he does it in Riot Cabaret, does a lot of the more comedic stuff there. He actually had one of my favourite matches of Forbidden Door weekends when he had the three-way match with Tate Mayfair's and the Pepperami sponsored table. He was really, really fun on the show. And actually, credit to them as well, because it turns out one of the comedians got hurt during the 9-team Tornado Tag Battle Royal match that they had. Abby Clark got hurt right at the start. And I didn't pick up on it at all. No. But her partner, a tag partner, Adam Maxted, filled in so brilliantly, to the point where I had no idea until after the show when I got told, Abby Clark got hurt. Do you know where she got hurt as well? Do you know she did that spot quite early on when she just jumped up and then slapped someone in the face?
She did a sort of somersault thing.
Yeah, she twisted her ankle there, or her knee there. And she was like, that was it. I couldn't do anything.
So annoying.
And she put up on Instagram, there were so many other wrestling moves that she had been training to do that she just couldn't do, and she had to be taken to the back. When
they announced, though, a 9 tag team, first of all, I was like, why 9? Why have you done 9? But then I thought this was going to be a cluster F.
It was.
And it was, but it was real. The actual story, the booking, again, it's simple and effective for that casual crowd. And it was so funny at the end of the day. Nish Kumar as well on commentary. he was exceptionally funny.
We'll see how much makes it into the edit broadcast version.
A lot of Riyadh. A lot of jokes about the Riyadh Comedy Festival.
And the BBC as well. Yeah, it was really, really good. My recommendation isn't just Clash of the Comedies. It's going to an after party.
Oh, is it really?
That's my recommendation for the week, is going to an after party for a show like that. It makes you feel real cool.
It's just a really accessible recommendation that anyone can do.
I just think if you get the opportunity, I think you should always take it up. That's not my actual recommendation. My actual other recommendation is a podcast series called Coining It, which is it's available on all podcast platforms, but it is a 6-part documentary, podcast documentary about an old guy in Blackpool who discovers a glitch within a Bitcoin sharing website where he can effectively print money because he can sell Bitcoin and buy it back, and it doesn't cost him anything, but he just keeps acquiring Bitcoin. And it's the story about how A, it all came about, B, what he then did with the money, C, spoilers, how it all sorts of fall apart, but also D, about how he just is so unaware that what he's doing is illegal. And he just keeps, it's just a glitch. It's just a glitch. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that
they should have coded it better.
They should have coded it better. It's really, really interesting. And there's a lot of fascinating characters in there that come in and out of his life and the relationships that he has with people. Also, he has like this odd messiah complex where he's just like, oh, I think, I'm here to be the next Jesus. So it's really, really cool. A fascinating 6. I binged it in like 2 days.
6 episodes, half-hour episodes?
Half-hour episodes, yeah.
Easy.
It's hosted by Lewis Goodall. Does a great job on it.
My recommendation is The Ballad of Wallace Island. I know I probably said a lot, but I genuinely mean it here. This has just gone straight into my top 50 films of all time, probably. Like, that sounds like that's not good enough, but I adore this movie.
Yeah.
It's the basic idea is a guy has won the lottery. He's moved to a remote island off the coast of Wales, I believe, and he's a bit lonely. So he has invited. Well, he's booked. He's paid £1 million to get his favourite folk duo musician act from 2012 to come and play a gig just for him.
Oh wow.
They don't know it's just for him.
Yeah.
And they also broke up 10 years ago. And one of them doesn't know the other's coming. And they were in a relationship because I can't remember the guy's name, Tom Paston, the creator of Plebs, if you've seen that, and Kerry Mulligan.
Great. Yeah.
And it is. And Tim Key's the guy. I can't think of a sweeter film.
Oh, lovely.
Every moment where you're like, oh, is this going to play it for laughs? They go for the sweet option, and it makes it funnier. So I cannot recommend that enough.
Yeah. Great. I'll check it out. But that's all we've got time for on this edition of the podcast. We are back on Saturday because myself and Dan Layton will be doing live hangouts for Crown Jewel over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. But here on WrestleTalk, we'll have the WrestleTalk podcast review of Crown Jewel. So we'll see you then. Until next time, I've been Luke Owen, DAD, and this has been Ollie Davis. Jam that jam.